Gossip Girl Serena Van Der Woodsen was the ultimate Upper East Side it girl. She was cool, fashionable, beautiful, but also chaotic, spoiled, and extremely out of touch. Over the 6 seasons of Gossip Girl, we got to see Serena's life unfold as an insider. Mistake after mistake, Serena was revealed as a devoutly self-interested character, full of contradiction and minimal growth. But with recent and not so recent shifts in actress Blake Lively's public image, it's worth asking, are the two actually one and the same? Or is Blake being criticized unfairly and, as she claims, is nothing like her iconic role?
I don't think I relate to any of my characters. I've played a crack addict from Boston. I've played an Upper East Side princess. I think that that's the safety in that, is that I never play characters that are like me.
With accusations of being tone deaf, her perceived self-centered attitude, and whispers of her mean girl energy behind the scenes, it's hard to ignore the parallels between Serena and Blake. As more is revealed about the actress and lines begin to blur, the question remains, has Blake been Serena all along? Let's explore it. I'm Ingrid and welcome to my channel. Here I explore psychology, self-awareness, culture, and character analysis, so like this video and subscribe if you want to see more of that. It really helps out a small channel and I love doing this. And be sure to check out my Patreon for an extended version of this video and my full collection of workbooks and affirmations and even more. So let's get into it. For starters, Serena and Blake both display a strong case of main character syndrome.
Fine, I won't go. Good! And then Poppy won't go and her friends won't go, and you can explain to your mother why she has an empty front row. Would that make you happy?
At least I won't have to watch the next episode of The Serena Show.
Whether it's embracing their it girl reputation, making unnecessary scenes, trying to steal the spotlight, or approaching things with a sense of superiority, both Blake and Serena clearly crave being the center of attention. They have an uncanny ability to make every situation revolve around them, even when it's to the detriment of others. Their need for validation and constant presence in the limelight is undeniable, and they don't hesitate to manipulate circumstances to ensure they are always the focus. With both Serena and Blake coming from Nepo baby roots, this isn't exactly surprising. Serena having a basically glorified socialite gold digger mother, and Blake being the daughter of 2 Hollywood insiders. From the very beginning of Gossip Girl, Serena positions herself as the ultimate it girl, even when she pretends she doesn't want to be.
I'm not taking anything from you, Blair. I was invited. And as for taking me down, I'd love to see you try.
Whether it's the constant drama with Blair or her attempts to sabotage those around her to stay in the spotlight, Serena's actions always seem to circle back to her need for self-identity and validation. From telling her mother she's not allowed to date the love of her life, Rufus, because Serena might be in love with his son, trying to manipulate her mother into choosing her completely toxic and absent biological father over, again, the love of her life, Rufus, destroying multiple opportunities for friends and family based on her own perceived offenses, and being vindictive when anyone tries to threaten her title. Serena intrinsically believes that she's the most important person on the planet and is terrified of any threat to this self-image. And a city full of press as well as Gossip Girl reinforcing that belief do not help. And unfortunately, it seems that Blake Lively exhibits similar traits off-screen. Throughout her career, she's been known to step into the limelight and often hijack moments meant for others.
I'm just brunette because of the books.
Everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
During interviews, she has a habit of talking over other people and steering the conversation back to herself or whatever cringy joke she's attempting to make in the moment.
So sorry that we're late. I'm late because I lost my mom. She used to be in Boston and she's in Barcelona. I would say understandable mistake, but not understandable.
Her seemingly desperate desire to be seen as this loved by men, dry-humored, cool woman is clear in almost every public interaction she's ever had.
He's taking his shirt. See, I take my shirt off in this movie and my shorts, so it's only fair. This is the best thing that happened.
I'm also not in that great of shape.
This really parallels her to Serena, seeing as these forms of desperation usually stem from an air of superiority on the surface, but a deep and shadowed lack of stable identity subconsciously. Another example of this main character syndrome that Blake actively participates in is her so-called crown straightener tendencies.
It's like, someone on social media is calling you a crown straightener. I said, what's that? She said, a woman who goes around straightening other women's crowns.
And I was just like, oh, it was just like the best compliment I've ever been given.
She endearingly embraces this title, but it so clearly shows her belief that her opinions and vision are superior to other people's. She tries to play this habit off as being a girl's girl or helping friends to be their best selves, but from the way this action is received by those on the other end, it's clear to see that Blake does this out of control, the desire to assert her social dominance, and the desire to feel better or more knowledgeable than those around her. Something that severely irritated me about the first couple seasons of Gossip Girl was that Serena's life and reputation seemed like ego porn written by Blake Lively herself, which probably didn't help the young actress's budding cockiness either.
Or he hated me.
No guy in the history of the world has ever hated you.
I can't help but parallel moments like these with this awful scene of Serena and Blair.
Act like a tiger, okay? Come on. You're Venus in the half shell, right? So just... Remember I taught you the hand on the hip? Strike it and pop. Come on, give me more, you sexy beast. Oh, it looks so good. You're doing so good.
As if Blair, daughter of a fashion designer, complete icon from day one, wouldn't know how to pose for a fashion magazine. I'm sorry, but this does not feel realistic. But anyway, both Blake and Serena have opportunistic personalities. They both seem to have made a habit out of treating everything as a stepping stone for their own success, using people, situations, and relationships to their advantage whenever it suits them. Whether it's Serena fake befriending Dan again just to gain the rights to his movie.
And what's happening with the film rights to the book?
I don't know. I hadn't actually thought about that. That would be crazy. A movie.
And ultimately destroying his chance to produce a film with Harvey Weinstein or anyone else, or Blake using her friends as leverage to enhance her public image, neither of them ever hesitate to utilize every possible resource they have to their advantage.
But then you turned around and you were just as supportive of Ryan. Yeah. What is it like to...
And my hair care company, Blake Brown? My goodness gracious! You guys put Betty Buzz in here? Betty Buzz, that's my drinks company.
I don't necessarily think this is the worst trait in a person if done with good intention and alignment, but the way that Blake and Serena do it is just so vapid.
You know, the milk and the foaming it and all of that. And the same thing with alcohol when I hear about, you know, how this is distilled in Portland and how the reason this one is winning all the taste tests actually is because gin has a high juniper content, which is why a lot of people don't like gin, but this has no juniper, and like all of that story I just love.
Was completely ambushed by her promoting her husband's gin, basically. She hijacked the interview in a sense to talk about this the product placement basically.
I chose not to add much in this video about the actual Baldoni lawsuit because I admittedly haven't done enough research on it yet, but I'm very aware of how out of touch she's been during her press tour of It Ends With Us in regards to domestic violence victims. And as someone who's been in a domestic violence relationship, it's very, very tasteless, and it's clear to see that her castmates feel the exact same way.
So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could I'm just curious about
social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics? Are we talking emotionally?
Blake and Serena's opportunistic tendencies often aren't just about getting ahead, they're about maintaining their status, staying relevant, and making sure they always come out on top.
Eric, I don't get it. Why would Serena hijack my birthday?
Well, I know she was trying to do something nice for you, and maybe she just got a little carried away. And maybe she wanted to prove to everyone she could still throw a great party.
This is seen anytime Serena feels threatened at the potential loss of her It Girl title, and it seems to be apparent anytime Blake does absolutely anything. I truly cannot imagine that Blake needs to sell products this badly.
And a frozen glass. Here.
Move, bad martini. Why is Deadpool Wolverine sold out? I'm sorry, I got distracted back there. Do you want a martini before you go?
Sure, I'm not gonna say no.
Come on, let's do this. Some Aviation American gin.
I also think that this really reveals her craving to be seen as the coolest and most desirable woman at all times by promoting her husband's brands and movies. When she blatantly tries to promote him, even in uncomfortable ways, this fits into her attempted perfectly curated image of the wife that every man wants and every woman wants to be. And this tendency seems to go back even a decade, with the 2015 blind item stating, This former B-list, mostly television actress who got her fame on an almost network hit has been causing delays on her new movie. Apparently, she has been promoting clothes and bags while on set. Both Serena and Blake's opportunistic tendencies seem to stem from an innate fear of losing relevance. They're used to being admired, respected, lusted after, and chased, whether it's Serena being the Upper East Side's golden girl or Blake being Hollywood's cool girl. The idea of fading into the background, of being just another person rather than the person, seems to drive many of their actions. There's even a scene of Serena overtly sharing this. After every Gossip Girl blast specifically targeted at her, the one she remembers the most is when she was called irrelevant, bringing it up even years later when it happened in season 1 in season 5.
She is so heartless and humiliating.
Oh, this is nothing compared to when she called me irrelevant at graduation.
For Serena, this deep fear manifests in how she constantly reinvents herself based on what will serve her best in the moment. She's the party girl when it makes her look cool, the reformed good girl when she wants sympathy, the career woman when she needs to prove herself, and the poor little rich girl when she wants an excuse for her bad behavior. For Blake, this manifests in a messy, chaotic attempt to merge everything she wants to do in one overly opportunistic person, almost as a desperate attempt to remain relevant and successful. Clearly shown in Gossip Girl, Serena Van Der Woodsen is incredibly two-faced. It seems that as the seasons go on, there's not a single episode where Serena is 100% honest. She plays the role of the devoted best friend, but the moment that Blair has something Serena doesn't, she turns on her in the name of revenge, like sabotaging Blair just for one kiss she had with Serena's ex-boyfriend Dan, while pretending to be her best friend the entire time.
No,
And don't think I don't know it was you that sent Princess Sophie that scrapbook from Gossip Girl. I assumed it was payback for Dan, but maybe you were defending Chuck too.
Blake Lively operates similarly in real life. Just like Serena, she's built an image of being likable, down-to-earth, and loyal, but her actions don't always align with that persona. For example, many speculate that Blake actually had an affair with Ryan Reynolds while he was married to Scarlett Johansson, and she was dating real-life Dan, Penn Badgley. Though Ryan and Blake deny this, the timeline was very messy. Media commentator and writer Kat Marnell even tweeted this, claiming to have been witness to the affair. Ryan Reynolds divorced ScarJo the summer after Blake and Ryan's movie Green Lantern was released, and Blake broke up with Penn around the same time. Later, a blind item about Blake was released allegedly in regards to actor Ben Affleck from his wife Jennifer Garner.
This A-plus list mostly movie actor was in talks to do a movie with this A-plus list mostly movie actor / Academy Award winner / nominee, but the wife of the Academy Award winner / nominee said fuck no, and would leave the actor in a second. It turns out the wife of the actor number 1 had a fling with the Academy Award winner / nominee while she was husband searching and almost destroyed the marriage. She was great at destroying relationships.
And Blake is allegedly two-faced on both sides of the spectrum, with blind items also stating that Ryan doesn't even know about this affair. On top of all this, Ryan's close friend Hugh Jackman cheated on his wife, Deborah Lee Furness, who claimed that Blake and Ryan encouraged and concealed his affair, all while being friendly directly to her. She even stated that this entire legal debacle must feel a little bit karmic to them. It would be hard not to make the comparison between Serena's affair with Nate's cousin Tripp Vanderbilt and Blake's with Ryan and potentially Ben Affleck. Then there's her friendships with Taylor Swift, which again she leverages for her benefit. It's even rumored that she recently called paparazzi to Taylor's beach house, something that Taylor obviously tries to avoid, hinting at her tendency to place her own needs above others and go behind her friends' backs.
An A- list actress made sure to get photos snapped at the beach house. She hired the person and told them when and where to be. It is impossible to get shots of anyone there unless it's planned and approved. And that is all about Blake Lively being in Taylor Swift's beach house in Rhode Island for Blake's birthday.
In my extended video, I break down 2 more ways that Blake and Serena are exactly the same. How they both care more about their reputations than the impact that their actions actually cause, and how they can both be extremely out of touch. So check out my Patreon if you want to see those. Now for a couple ways in which they might actually be different. Blake is a lot more calculated. Serena often finds herself in dramatic situations because she lacks self-awareness and constantly makes poor decisions that she later tries to justify or push herself as the victim. She genuinely believes that she deserves second chances, special treatment, and unconditional devotion despite the harm she causes.
Blair, I'm sorry I sent those blasts to Louise's mother, but everything worked out great, so can we just enjoy it and move on, please?
Like much else in your life, that apology was underwhelming.
Blake, on the other hand, seems far more aware of how she presents herself and carefully, though at times messily, crafts her public persona. And though she seems to also believe she deserves special treatment in the world on a platter, she takes a much more cunning approach to achieve it.
Slytherin, obviously. Obviously.
Wait, for
fucking
real?
obviously.
I thought they just said Gryffindor every time.
No, for sure Slytherin.
So good
like,
about
just to
myself
make you
right
feel
now.
good.
I can't help but think that both of these girls would be Slytherin, FYI, though it makes total sense that Blake sees herself as a Gryffindor. Another thing to mention is the different romantic personas they each try to embrace. Serena of the girl next door post-chaos era, then someone lazily trying to be a working girl, while Blake really embraces the wannabe cool girl energy while still aiming to be the girl next door fantasy of every man's dream. But it seems that both try to conceal a level of chaos in one form or another. And a last key difference is how they react to being called out. Serena, when confronted, often plays the victim.
His funny business with Serena Van Der Woodsen.
Mom, you have to call them and make them print a retraction and an apology. You know that's not true.
Half of New York saw you kiss him at the ballet.
Instead of taking accountability, Serena acts as though everyone around her is unfairly cruel, shifting the blame onto others. And honestly, no wonder.
I think you misunderstood me. Serena chose Columbia, and despite your judgment, she is the victim here.
Blake, on the other hand, tends to either ignore criticism
How's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
or attempts to actually spin it into something that makes her look good. Overall, Blake seems more calculated, strategic, and logical, while Serena is largely emotionally driven, though this seems like a pretty natural toxic pipeline from a girl in high school to her late 30s. And besides that, so did Blake actually just play herself on Gossip Girl? That's for you to decide. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know where you think I was right, where you think I was wrong, and what I should cover next. See you next time.